Welcome to Flick News episode 35. This week, we've got a lot of exciting news for you. From the new Thomas and Friends series to the Shrek 5 terrible plot and much more. So,
let's dive right in.
First of all, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and Coco animation artist Octavio Rodriguez has signed to direct a new animated film titled On the Edge. The film follows Donnie, a cynical but lovable Cuban Solenodon who takes on an outrageous mission to avoid extinction by rebranding himself as a panda, one of the world's most beloved endangered species. Rodriguez says he wants this film to push the boundaries of animation so that audiences can fall in love with these endangered, quirky misfits. It's a story about the underdog, resilience, survival, and ultimately finding where we truly belong. Then Dodge Greenlee, the creator of Learning with Pibby, announced in a new Instagram post that he's officially moving on from the pilot and Pibby story. He wrote, "I'm properly medicated and therapized, so I'm trying to turn this corner and move on. This is the end of her story for me." You can read his full post if you want, but that pretty much sums it up. He also shares a new image from a storyline planned for this canceled series that depicts Courage the cowardly dog being brutally murdered. He also says that "I wish I could say developing her story was a delight, but honestly, it was like being punched in the soul every week." And noting that following the debut of the pilot, it was labeled such a success that a full show seemed possible at that point. But the reality of the situation was much different. Now just rest in peace to that character. Pibby had the potential to be something huge, but the studio never got it, unfortunately. Then the first look at Breaking Bear has been revealed. It's a new adult animated series coming to Tubi, which is being described as Yogi Bear meets The Sopranos, which already sounds wild. It follows a family of bears who go full criminal to stop frackers, mobsters, and a wolf pack from destroying their home. The cast is stacked too, with voices from Josh Gad, Brendan Fraser, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Annie Murphy, and Elizabeth Hurley. So yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Then The Bad Guys 2 director Pierre Perifel confirms that the movie has officially finished production. And recently a new trailer was also dropped, which looks amazing, and I'm somehow excited for this sequel. Then the first trailer for the live-action hybrid animated Gabby's Dollhouse the movie has been released, and it brings the beloved character into a much bigger world. Gabby, reprising her role from the series, heads out on a road trip with her grandma Gigi to the urban wonderland of Cat Francisco. But things take a turn when her most prized possession, the magical dollhouse, ends up in the hands of an eccentric cat lady named Vera. That sets Gabby off on a wild adventure through the real world as she tries to reunite the Gabby cats and save the dollhouse before it's too late. And what makes this even more interesting is that the movie is produced by Steven Schweikart, who's worked on major DreamWorks hits like How to Train Your Dragon, The Croods, and most recently Kung Fu Panda 4. And it's executive produced by Jennifer Toomey and Tracy Page Johnson, the original creators of the Gabby's Dollhouse series that streams on Netflix. So let's see how this movie turns out. It could be a fun ride for both longtime fans and a whole new audience. Then Nickelodeon and SAG-AFTRA have reached a tentative agreement on a new 3-year contract, which will cover the work of Guild actors in animated shows made for Nick's cable channels and Paramount+. This new deal is a big one. It includes pay increases totaling over $3.25 million, along with higher rates for interstitial content and stronger protections against AI use in voice work. On top of that, the agreement also brings improvements to SVOD residuals and introduces a success bonus, which means if a show performs well, the actors benefit too. It's a major step forward for voice actors working in animation, and it shows that the industry is starting to take their contributions more seriously. Then according to Sesame Workshop writer Jen Capra, Skillsville has been canceled and shelved at PBS Kids. He shared that many people who have been working on the show have been laid off as a result of Donald Trump terminating the Ready to Learn grant for funding at PBS. And because of that same funding cut, Molly of Denali will also not be renewed for Season 5 at PBS Kids. However, the remaining unaired episodes will premiere soon, and maybe over time, we'll start seeing even more effects from that grant cancellation, possibly leading to more shows getting canceled. So let's see what happens. Then Pixar reveals the first clip from his upcoming film Elio, and it's just somehow a little bit similar to the ongoing trend of 100 men's versus 1 gorilla.
Hello, I am the Universal User's Manual. I contain the secrets of the universe. What is the meaning of life? What lies beyond a black hole? Is there a
Who would win in a fight? One gorilla with a baseball bat or 10 chimps?
None who fight are true winners.
Huh?
The gorilla.
Then Business Wire teases that a new Thomas and Friends series could premiere in 2026. They mentioned that in 2026, Thomas and Friends is ready for a thrilling new journey that is set to delight fans old and new. And Thomas and Friends All Engines Go has officially ended after 4 seasons, 147 episodes, and 5 specials. But yeah, we're getting another series in 2026, so Thomas isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And keeping on with Thomas and Friends, the lost pilot episode Down the Mine has finally been released in honor of the show's 80th anniversary. The Thomas and Friends content team carefully restored it by piecing together 40-year-old 35mm film trims, rebuilding and digitizing the footage from the original test shoot. It's a special gift for longtime fans, giving us a fresh look at the episode that started it all. Then following the Fox bumper deal to renew long-running hits, The Simpsons, Family Guy, and Bob's Burgers, as well as returning series American Dad, for 4 more seasons, Fox has renewed 3 more of its animated series, Grimmsburg, Krapopolis, and Universal Basic Guys. Each of the shows is being renewed for 1 season. Grimmsburg and Universal Basic Guys for Season 3, and Krapopolis for Season 5. Then this account on Twitter reveals some major Shrek 5 scoops. And yeah, while there's a lot of nonsense floating around online, especially on Twitter, this account has actually been right quite a few times, specifically when it comes to Shrek. Like they were the first to reveal that Zendaya would play a major role in the movie, and that turned out to be true. So according to them, the plot will follow Shrek's daughter, played by Zendaya, practices magic and accidentally transports Shrek and Donkey to the real world. And now they must find a way back because she doesn't know the spell to bring them home. Honestly, I don't even know what to say to that. Just please don't add live-action people in this. Keep it animated. They also mentioned that Puss in Boots won't be in Shrek 5, at least not in the main story. But there's still a chance he could show up in a surprise cameo or a post-credit scene, kind of like the Furious 5 and Kung Fu Panda 4. So yeah, let's see if any of this actually turns out to be legit. Now let's take a look at some streaming dates that were confirmed this week. Care Bears Unlock the Magic will stream on Netflix US on May 19th. New episodes of Tiny Toons Luniversity will premiere on Cartoon Network on May 31st at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the Total Drama Island Revival will premiere on Cartoon Network US on May 31st starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then Star Trek Prodigy will be leaving Netflix soon. Season 1 will leave on June 24th, while Season 2 will leave on January 1st, 2026. This news marks another challenging chapter for the series, which was originally developed for Paramount Plus before being removed and later finding a new streaming home on Netflix. Now, with these Netflix licenses expiring, the future of Prodigy's streaming availability is once again uncertain. To make matters worse, Paramount Global Content Distribution has referred to Season 2 as the show's final season in some publicity materials, meaning a 3rd season of Star Trek Prodigy is unlikely. Then CNBC reports that Warner Bros. Discovery might be heading for a major split in the not-too-distant future. According to them, the company could separate its linear cable networks from the rest of the business, while Warner Bros. Studios would be paired with Max. But don't expect it to happen overnight. WBD is currently sitting on a massive $34.6 billion in debt, so any big moves like this will definitely take time. Still, it's a pretty big development if it goes through, and it could seriously reshape how the company operates going forward. Then Bloomberg has published an article that deep dive into the current state and history of Cartoon Network, and honestly, it paints a pretty complicated picture. They say that for now, the network's fate is still tied to the rocky situation at Warner Bros., which has lost over 60% of its market value since David Zaslav took over. But despite that, Warner Bros. Executive Vanessa Brookman says she's feeling optimistic about where Cartoon Network is headed. She admits, it's not maybe how the fans remember it, but it's not dead. She also adds that while the focus will remain on originals, rebooting beloved IPs makes smart business sense in today's climate. Interestingly, the article also reveals that Cartoon Network once tried to acquire Bluey but failed, and we all know how Bluey went on to become a massive hit for Disney Channel and Disney+. That one definitely stings. And when it comes to money, things aren't looking too great either. Annual ad revenue for Cartoon Network and Adult Swim dropped from $668.3 million back in 2014 to just $133.7 million in 2024. That's a massive fall. As more viewers moved from cable to streaming, Warner Bros. Discovery's streaming service Max has failed to attract children viewers. Only 13% of 10 to 12-year-olds have recently watched anything on Max, while Hulu is at 32%, Disney Plus at 57%, and Netflix all the way up at 72%. And when it comes to preschoolers, Max is in dead last, behind even YouTube, TikTok, Peacock, and Apple TV+. They also spoke with retired animation artist Robert Alvarez, and his take was pretty sharp. He said, "Scooby-Doo is like a vampire. You can't kill it," which is probably true. Meanwhile, Cartoon Network president Michael Awalin doesn't seem too worried about the future of animation at Warner Bros., saying the whole industry has always been shaped by constant tech disruption. He says, "Animation is amazing at adapting to a different economic reality or a different consumption habit." And former Cartoon Network executive Linda Siminski gave a fun little comparison of the big three networks from back in the day. She said Disney Channel was the kid in the class that's sitting in front raising their hand. Nickelodeon was the kid in the middle, making jokes. And Cartoon Network was the kid all the way in the back row, shooting spitballs. She also talks on the network now airing Barney's World. She says, "It's exactly the kind of thing that people at Cartoon Network would have once made fun of." So yeah, a lot's changing. And it's tough to say what Cartoon Network will even look like a few years from now. But hopefully the spirit of what made it special isn't completely gone. Then a Cocomelon movie is officially in the works at Universal and DreamWorks Animation, and it's heading to theaters in 2027, which now means that in the same year, we're getting theatrical releases for two of the biggest preschool hits, Bluey and Cocomelon. Which one are you most excited for? Let me know in the comments. With its bright, colorful animation and catchy sing-along songs, Cocomelon has grown into a global phenomenon, pulling in around 4 billion average monthly views on YouTube. On Netflix, it's a regular among the top-ranked kids shows, and the brand has expanded even further, with a strong presence on music platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon Music. Then Marshmello, the notoriously masked DJ, has been cast in the upcoming Smurfs movie, but it's unclear who he'll be playing in the live-action animated hybrid film. Marshmello's casting in Smurfs is notable because he rarely shares his real voice. Then we got the first official look at Bill Hader's The Cat in the Hat. The image was unveiled by Steinberg during the Warner Bros. Upfront event. The movie's animation style is completely different from any prior Cat in the Hat project. It sports a unique mix of 2D and 3D elements, with two-dimensional features present on a three-dimensional character model. Then Steve Papun, known for being the co-creator of The Wild Thornberrys and writer for The Simpsons, Alf, and more, has died at the age of 68 after struggling with a heart condition called cardiac amyloidosis for the past 2 years. Then Aardman and BBC launched new Shaun the Sheep series, with 20 more madcap adventures arriving on the BBC this May. And audiences can enjoy Shaun's first ever double episode, Shirleyverse, which will air as a special premiere for the whole family on Saturday, May 24th on BBC One and BBC iPlayer at 3:30 p.m. The series will be available on BBC iPlayer from Saturday, May 24th, and more episodes will air at 7 a.m. weekdays from Monday, May 26th on CBBC. Then, according to a press release by NBC Universal, outlining its upcoming film slate, the sequel to the Super Mario Bros. Movie will be titled Super Mario World. The end credit scene in the 2023 film teased Yoshi's arrival, and NBC Universal slate confirms his expanded role in the sequel. As reported by Nintendo Jam, the title Super Mario World pays homage to the iconic 1990 SNES game, which marked Yoshi's first appearance in the Mario franchise. The title suggests the film may draw heavily from that game, with Yoshi expected to take center stage. With the title and release date now confirmed, fans can expect more updates as the film moves toward its 2026 premiere. And that's a wrap for this week's news. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care.